when I first started dating Krista, it was in 2001. So she invited me over for Christmas, and I met the whole family in one shot, which was awesome. And then they were like, oh yeah, my dad's coming over. And believe it or not, her dad was the most normal person in the entire house. And so no matter what it was, he had this way about him that would make sure that you felt comfortable and that he, as though he's known you his whole life, just by talking to you. And I see it through and through, and he has this immense talent about him, and this comfort that you can get from just speaking to him. And I know you all know that. He doesn't have an ounce of ill will ever. And so at that time, there was some tension within my own family, and I felt like this was a universal calling, that I had this new person in my life that was so kind and so receptive to who I was. And so he would always try to, I love cars and he loved movies, so it was always what car movie was this, and he would give me newspaper clippings of Knight Rider and Dukes of Hazzard and all sorts of stuff, and he would find such great ways to try to connect with me. And through, all through the years, I found that this person was such a strong survivor. And so if I had to think of different quotes, and one of the things that's amazing to me, that I always had conversations with him, because whenever we drive the family somewhere, everybody else was asleep as soon as the car started, except he would stay up with me, and we'd have great conversations. And it was amazing to me that he never liked Star Trek like I did. Which is weird, right? Because he loves sci-fi, he loves all these things, and so, but you hear his life story and how he battled polio and he survived. And then one day, Krista calls me, and I'm at work, and says that he had a heart attack. And we left the toolbox open, everything, and went running to Loma Linda to try to be there. And we went every day after that, for weeks on end, every single day after work, to be with him. And he survived that too. And just one after another. And so one of the things I always told him, one of the quotes I will always think of is from Star Trek, when he says, my God, Bones, what have I done? When he's talking about that he just blew up the Enterprise to save themselves. And Bones says, what you always do, you turn death into a fighting chance to live. And that, to me, sums up how he has managed to survive as long as he did. He had a lot of pain, and he never ever complained about pain. And that's kind of strength I don't even know that anybody I know has. So then I'm gonna read the post that I posted, because that pretty much sums up everything that I feel. And I'm sorry guys, bear with me. He would actually find this comical that I hand wrote it. So of course Ian's asking me, well, can you get a copy of it? And no, because in typical way of your dad, I hand wrote it, and he loved human connection. So and before I start that, so the last time that I actually got to have this full-blown conversation with him he had a family luau at his retirement home, and I was able to be fortunate enough to go, and this was soon after my own father had passed away, and so I never really got, in the hustle and bustle of everything, I never really got a chance to really even speak about it verbally to anybody. And it was supposed to be an hour-long luncheon thing, and 3.5 hours later, we had the greatest conversation, and he just made sure that I knew that he was there for me, and that no matter what, that I don't ever have to feel alone. So, sorry. This is the post. I said, today my heart is very heavy. Exactly 1 month to the day and the hour from the passing of my own father, my second father-in-law passed away peacefully in his hospital bed, surrounded by his children. As you all know, my relationship with my own father was strained for the last 17 years, and somehow the universe saw I needed a father figure to look for love and support. And John Abrahamson walked into my life to fill that void I had for so long. He was a kind man who loved movies and always looked at surprising everyone with thoughtful gifts. He was always there for me when I needed advice on anything, and seemed to always love talking to me. He is the reason I drive a Ford truck, to tell you how influential he was to me. I'm not an American car guy, by the way. So, I still remember when Krista had all her friends going on a grad trip to Hawaii, and we simply just didn't have the money. I didn't ask him for much, but that day I saw how sad my wife was, so I told him that, and he said, of course, we have to get her to Hawaii. There's no question, and help pay for it. I've always felt apprehensive about my life and venturing off to take risks and try different things, because I always felt like if I fail, who is going to help me find my way home? I know he would have made sure that I got home safely. John Abrahamson was a good man with a good heart that had been influential to so many. When he started his teaching career, there was no special classes for emotionally disturbed children in California. So as a pioneer in making schooling available for children that nobody else knew how to deal with, and all the stories he would say about those classes. He was inducted into the Teaching Hall of Fame as well for all his exceptional work in the field. And I remember that day because I cried then because I was so proud of him. He has lived the last of his years in pain from various ailments, and Krista has done everything she could while raising her own family and full-time job to help him. Even though we are extremely saddened by his passing, we all agree that he's finally out of pain, and now his parents and friends who have been waiting in heaven for his arrival. During our wedding, during our wedding, he asked me to please call him Dad. I was always apprehensive about this since I didn't even call my own father Dad. So here it goes. Dad, please keep shining your love and wisdom down on me and my family. Please always look after our kids and your grandchildren and encourage them to be great people like you. I thank you for the love and support you have given me through the last 17 years. And I thank you for the one fateful night I drove to your house to ask permission to marry your daughter. And you cried in excitement and said, of course, you already are my son. I can only hope to be as kind and generous and understanding a person and a father as you were. May you finally rest in peace. Love, Sirimal. I just hope that in the end everybody would really encounter somebody as great as John was. And he was always so able to make your day better. He always called Kristen. He loved human contact. So one of the conversations that we had that day, last time I talked to him, was about how because he loved postcards and written letters, and that would make his entire week if he got a postcard. So wherever we'd go, we'd make sure that we got postcards to send him. And the human-to-human contact and a phone call was just amazing to him, especially because he couldn't see to read an email. That was very important. And I was telling him how that's what I feel that this world is now lacking, is that people don't want the human-to-human interaction. It would rather be in a virtual place, in a virtual reality. And so maybe there's a lot more in common that I have with him than he thinks. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all for coming again.